The metallic screech of twisted aluminum echoed across the muddy Belgian field as Flight Lieutenant James Whitworth knelt beside the most terrifying machine he had ever encountered. It was November 20th, 1944, just outside the village of Lommel, where the morning fog still clung to the wreckage of what appeared to be an aircraft unlike anything in the Royal Air Force technical manual. The sleek swept-wing design bore no propeller, yet scorch marks along its fuselage suggested speeds that defied everything Whitworth understood about aerodynamics. His breath formed small clouds in the cold air as he ran his gloved hand along the smooth metal skin, feeling the precision of German engineering beneath layers of mud and impact damage. The smell of burnt fuel and hot metal hung heavy around the crash site, mixing with the earthy scent of autumn leaves and the distant smoke from burning farmhouses. Whitworth's heart pounded as he realized what lay before him. This was no ordinary fighter plane. The twin-engine nacelles positioned beneath the wings contained machinery that hummed with residual heat, even hours after the crash. His orders were clear: photograph the wreckage, document obvious features, and wait for the specialized recovery team scheduled to arrive in 3 days. But as Whitworth stared at the revolutionary jet engines and swept-wing design, he understood that 3 days might be too late. German recovery teams were already probing Allied lines, searching for their fallen technology. No one in the Royal Aircraft establishment knew that one man's decision to disobey direct orders that morning would unlock the secrets that terrified every Allied pilot in the European theater. James Whitworth had never intended to become the man who would steal Germany's most closely guarded aviation secrets. Born in 1920 in the industrial town of Coventry, he was the son of a machinist who built engines for the Standard Motor Company. His childhood was spent in workshops filled with the smell of oil and the sound of precision tools shaping metal into mechanical perfection. Young James displayed an intuitive understanding of how machines worked, often disassembling alarm clocks and bicycle engines just to see their internal mechanisms. His father, Thomas Whitworth, encouraged this curiosity while teaching him that innovation required both knowledge and courage, lessons that would prove prophetic decades later. When James graduated from Coventry Technical College in 1939 with a degree in mechanical engineering, he had already demonstrated an unusual talent for understanding complex machinery through hands-on examination rather than theoretical study. His professors noted his ability to diagnose mechanical problems by touch, sound, and intuition, skills that traditional engineering education couldn't fully explain. The outbreak of war in September 1939 found Whitworth working as a junior engineer at the Rolls-Royce aircraft engine facility in Derby, where he first encountered the Merlin engines that powered the Spitfires and Hurricanes defending Britain. His enlistment in the Royal Air Force in March 1940 wasn't driven by patriotic fervor alone, but by a deep curiosity about German engineering capabilities that intelligence reports suggested were advancing at an alarming rate. Flight training revealed Whitworth possessed exceptional spatial awareness and mechanical intuition, but his true value emerged during technical training at the Royal Aircraft Establishment at Farnborough. Instructors quickly recognized his unique ability to understand aircraft systems through direct examination, leading to his assignment as a field technical intelligence officer. His first missions involved examining crashed Messerschmitt fighters and Junkers, bombers, where his detailed reports consistently revealed technical insights that escaped other engineers. Fellow officers initially viewed Whitworth with suspicion. His working-class background and unconventional analytical methods didn't match the typical RAF officer profile. However, his accurate assessments of German aircraft capabilities gradually earned him respect throughout the intelligence community. By summer 1944, Whitworth had examined over 60 enemy aircraft, compiling technical intelligence that helped Allied pilots understand their opponent's strengths and weaknesses. He had no idea that soon Those same analytical instincts would be all that stood between the Allies and a complete German technological revolution that could extend the war for years. The Messerschmitt 262 represented the culmination of German aviation innovation and a technological leap that threatened to render every Allied fighter obsolete within months. Development of the world's first operational jet fighter began in 1939 when Messerschmitt engineers recognized that propeller-driven aircraft were approaching their maximum speed potential. The revolutionary design incorporated swept wings, twin turbojet engines, and streamlined fuselage construction that enabled speeds exceeding 500 miles per hour, nearly 200 miles per hour faster than the best Allied fighters. By spring 1944, test flights demonstrated the Me-262's ability to outrun, outclimb, and outmaneuver every aircraft in the Allied inventory. Luftwaffe pilots who flew the revolutionary fighter described an almost supernatural flying experience, where traditional combat tactics became irrelevant and speed became the ultimate weapon. Intelligence reports reaching Allied command throughout summer 1944 painted an increasingly dire picture of German jet development. The Me-262 program represented more than individual aircraft advancement. It signaled a complete paradigm shift in aerial warfare that could neutralize Allied numerical superiority overnight. German production facilities were manufacturing these jets at an estimated rate of 100 aircraft per month, with pilot training programs specifically designed to exploit their unique capabilities. Allied fighter pilots who encountered Me-262s in combat reported feeling helpless against an enemy that could attack and disappear before defensive maneuvers were possible. The psychological impact on Allied aircrew was becoming as significant as the tactical threat, with experienced pilots requesting transfers rather than face the seemingly invincible German jets. British and American aviation experts understood that capturing an intact Me-262 would provide crucial intelligence about German manufacturing techniques, engine technology, and aerodynamic innovations. However, most crash sites were either behind German lines or so thoroughly destroyed that meaningful technical analysis was impossible. The few partial wrecks recovered by Allied forces had been stripped of critical components or damaged beyond useful examination. By November 1944, the strategic situation in Western Europe made German jet technology recovery a critical priority for Allied intelligence services. The successful D-Day landings and subsequent breakout from Normandy had advanced Allied ground forces deep into German-occupied territory, bringing new crash sites within reach of technical recovery teams. However, the fluid nature of frontline combat meant that valuable wreckage often lay in contested areas where detailed examination was impossible. Allied command structure required that any significant technological discoveries follow strict protocols involving multiple agencies and extensive bureaucratic review processes. These procedures, while ensuring thorough analysis, also created delays that often allowed German recovery teams to reach crash sites first. The race to capture German jet technology had become a shadow war within the larger conflict, where individual initiative and quick decision-making could determine whether crucial innovations fell into Allied or German hands. The morning of November 20th began with routine reconnaissance flight reports indicating possible aircraft wreckage in the recently liberated Belgian countryside near Lommel. Whitworth's assignment seemed straightforward: conduct preliminary technical assessment of what appeared to be another damaged German fighter, and prepare standard documentation for the specialized recovery team scheduled to arrive from Farnborough within 72 hours. The overnight advance of British ground forces had secured the immediate area, but German counterattack preparations were evident just 5 miles to the east, where artillery exchanges continued throughout the early morning hours. Whitworth arrived at the crash site accompanied by Sergeant Michael Davies, a technical photographer whose responsibility was documenting external aircraft features before detailed examination began. The standing orders were explicit. Photograph the wreckage from multiple angles, identify obvious technical features, secure the site against local scavenging, and maintain position until the specialized team arrived with proper equipment. What they discovered immediately challenged every assumption about German aircraft development and revealed technology that exceeded Allied intelligence estimates by years rather than months. The Me-262 had crashed in a shallow field adjacent to a small farmhouse, with impact damage concentrated in the nose section while leaving the wings and engine compartments relatively intact. Davies began photographing the external configuration while Whitworth conducted his preliminary visual assessment, both men quickly realizing they were examining technology that represented a quantum leap beyond anything in Allied service. The swept wing design incorporated manufacturing techniques that suggested German engineers had solved problems Allied researchers were still struggling to understand. More disturbing was the condition of the twin engines, which showed sophisticated internal construction visible through impact-damaged cowlings. As Whitworth examined the engine compartments more closely, he discovered that the crash had actually provided unprecedented access to internal mechanisms normally sealed behind heavy protective housing. The morning reconnaissance reports had failed to mention that this particular aircraft contained technical innovations that could revolutionize Allied understanding of jet propulsion, aerodynamic design, and high-speed flight control systems. However, Whitworth also realized that his orders specifically prohibited detailed technical examination without proper authorization and specialized equipment. The bureaucratic protocols required that he limit his assessment to external observation and basic photographic documentation, leaving detailed analysis to teams with higher security clearance and advanced technical credentials. But the advancing German forces meant that delaying detailed examination might result in losing this unprecedented opportunity to understand technology that was already shifting the balance of aerial warfare. Davies completed his external photography by mid-morning and began preparing for the return journey to battalion headquarters, assuming their mission was complete according to standard procedures. Whitworth faced a career-defining decision: follow orders and potentially lose the most important technical intelligence of the war, or exceed his authority and conduct unauthorized detailed examination that could provide crucial insights into German jet technology. The choice between duty and innovation crystallized as Whitworth heard the distant rumble of German artillery moving closer to their position. Every minute of delay increased the risk that enemy recovery teams would reach the crash site before Allied specialists could conduct proper analysis. Davies was packing his photographic equipment and preparing for departure when Whitworth made the decision that would define his military career and potentially alter the course of aviation development. "Sergeant, we're not leaving yet," Whitworth announced, his voice carrying the authority of an officer who had reached an irrevocable conclusion. "This aircraft contains technology that our people need to understand immediately, not in 3 days." Davies paused his packing and stared at his commanding officer with concern. "Sir, our orders are quite specific about limiting examination to external documentation only. The specialized team has proper equipment and authorization for detailed analysis." Whitworth was already removing tools from his personal kit and approaching the damaged engine compartments. "The specialized team won't find anything except empty mounting brackets if we wait for proper procedures. German recovery teams are probably already en route." The first engine nacelle revealed construction techniques that challenged everything Whitworth understood about high-temperature metallurgy and precision manufacturing. The turbine blades were manufactured from alloys that showed no heat damage, despite obvious high-power operation before impact. More significantly, the engine design incorporated features that suggested German engineers had solved cooling and stress problems that Allied designers considered theoretically impossible with current materials science. Davies reluctantly began photographing the internal engine components as Whitworth carefully removed access panels to expose additional mechanical systems. "Sir, this is definitely beyond our authorization level. Technical intelligence examination requires specialized clearance and proper documentation procedures." But Whitworth was discovering innovations that exceeded his most optimistic expectations about German engineering capabilities. The fuel injection system utilized precision components that indicated manufacturing tolerances far beyond Allied standards, while the electronic ignition system incorporated miniaturized components that suggested advances in electrical engineering that Allied researchers hadn't achieved. Each discovery revealed additional layers of sophistication that transformed his understanding of what was possible with 1944 technology and manufacturing capabilities. The wing structure examination provided equally revolutionary insights into high-speed aerodynamics and structural engineering solutions. The swept wing design wasn't simply angled differently from conventional aircraft. It incorporated internal reinforcement systems that distributed stress loads in ways that Allied engineers hadn't considered possible. More importantly, the wing fuselage integration utilized construction techniques that created seamless aerodynamic surfaces while maintaining structural integrity under extreme stress conditions. Whitworth realized he was documenting technological advances that represented years of development time compressed into practical applications that were already operational in combat situations. Davies continued photographing each component as Whitworth exposed it, both men understanding they were witnessing innovations that could revolutionize Allied aircraft design if properly understood and implemented. The control system examination revealed perhaps the most significant discovery of the entire investigation. The Germans had developed fly-by-wire technology that used electrical signals to control flight surfaces rather than direct mechanical linkages. Hours passed as Whitworth meticulously documented each system, component, and construction technique, while Davies photographed everything from multiple angles to ensure complete technical coverage. The unauthorized examination revealed that German jet development had progressed far beyond Allied intelligence estimates, incorporating innovations that suggested systematic technological advancement across multiple engineering disciplines simultaneously. The engine analysis alone provided insights into metallurgy, precision manufacturing, fuel system design, and high-temperature materials science that represented breakthroughs Allied researchers hadn't achieved despite massive research investments. Whitworth carefully removed small component samples for laboratory analysis, understanding that material science examination would be crucial for understanding German manufacturing capabilities and potentially replicating their innovations. The wing structure investigation revealed construction techniques that distributed stress loads more efficiently than any Allied aircraft design, using materials and assembly methods that appeared both stronger and lighter than conventional approaches. Most significantly, the flight control system incorporated electronic components that enabled precise control authority at speeds where traditional mechanical systems became ineffective or dangerous. As afternoon approached, the sound of approaching vehicles forced Whitworth to make rapid decisions about which components required immediate removal for detailed laboratory analysis. Davies had exposed over 300 photographs documenting every accessible system and component, creating the most comprehensive technical intelligence record of German jet technology obtained by Allied forces. The unauthorized examination had revealed innovations that could accelerate Allied jet development by years, if properly understood and implemented. But both men understood they had exceeded their authority in ways that could result in court-martial proceedings. Whitworth selected critical component samples representing engine technology, materials science, and electronic systems that couldn't be adequately understood through photographic documentation alone. Davies finished securing his extensive photographic record, while Whitworth prepared his detailed technical notes, documenting each system's function, construction methods, and potential applications for Allied aircraft development. The approaching vehicles turned out to be British armored reconnaissance units conducting security sweeps rather than the feared German recovery team, providing temporary relief but not eliminating the fundamental conflict between orders and innovation. Whitworth understood that his unauthorized detailed examination would require extensive justification to superior officers who valued procedural compliance over individual initiative, regardless of potential technical intelligence value. However, he also recognized that the discoveries made during their extended investigation could provide Allied aviation designers with crucial insights into German engineering capabilities and potentially decisive technological advantages. As they prepared for departure, Whitworth took one final look at the revolutionary aircraft that had challenged his understanding of what was possible with current technology and forced him to choose between following orders and advancing Allied interests. The decision to conduct unauthorized, detailed examination represented a calculated risk that could either accelerate Allied victory through technological innovation or end his military career through disciplinary action for exceeding authorized limitations. The return journey to battalion headquarters required careful consideration of how to present their unauthorized activities to commanding officers who prioritized procedural compliance over individual initiative, regardless of potential intelligence value. Whitworth spent the 20-minute drive preparing explanations that emphasized the time-sensitive nature of their discoveries and the strategic importance of understanding German technological capabilities before enemy recovery teams could secure the crash site. Davies remained quietly concerned about potential disciplinary consequences, understanding that their photographic evidence would clearly demonstrate they had conducted detailed examination far beyond authorized parameters. The initial briefing with Major Richardson revealed the complexity of military bureaucracy when individual innovation conflicts with established procedures. Richardson listened carefully to Whitworth's preliminary assessment of German technological advances while examining Davies's photographic documentation, gradually recognizing that their unauthorized examination had produced intelligence of extraordinary strategic importance. Flight Lieutenant, your orders were quite specific about limiting examination to external documentation only. However, your preliminary assessment suggests discoveries that could significantly impact Allied aircraft development. Richardson's response indicated the institutional tension between procedural compliance and strategic innovation that characterized military decision-making throughout the war. The technical intelligence summary prepared by Whitworth documented German engineering advances that exceeded Allied capabilities in multiple critical areas simultaneously: metallurgy, precision manufacturing, aerodynamics, and electronic systems. His detailed component analysis revealed that German jet development represented systematic technological advancement rather than isolated innovations, suggesting research and development capabilities that Allied intelligence had seriously underestimated. The material samples obtained during unauthorized examination would require laboratory analysis to understand German manufacturing techniques and material science advances that enabled their superior performance characteristics. Richardson forwarded Whitworth's preliminary report to Royal Aircraft Establishment headquarters at Farnborough, emphasizing the strategic importance of immediate technical analysis while acknowledging the unauthorized nature of the detailed examination. The response from Farnborough revealed the bureaucratic complexity of processing intelligence obtained through irregular procedures while recognizing its potential strategic value. Colonel Pemberton's communication requested immediate transportation of all photographic documentation component samples, and technical notes to Farnborough for specialized analysis by teams with appropriate security clearance and advanced laboratory facilities. More significantly, Pemberton's message included commendation for Whitworth's initiative, while carefully avoiding official approval of his unauthorized activities. The institutional response reflected military leadership's recognition that exceptional circumstances sometimes required individual decision-making that exceeded normal procedural limitations, even when such decisions couldn't be officially sanctioned. Within 48 hours, specialized teams from Farnborough had arrived at the crash site to conduct comprehensive technical examination using advanced equipment and procedures that Whitworth's improvised investigation couldn't match. However, their initial assessment confirmed that his unauthorized examination had accurately identified the most significant technical innovations while providing crucial baseline understanding that accelerated their specialized analysis. The photographic documentation prepared by Davies proved invaluable for understanding component relationships and system integration that weren't immediately apparent from static examination alone. The immediate aftermath of Whitworth's unauthorized examination created ripple effects throughout the Allied intelligence community, as technical experts recognized the strategic significance of his discoveries. Laboratory analysis of the component samples confirmed German advances in metallurgy that enabled turbine operation at temperatures and stress levels that Allied engineers considered impossible with available materials. The engine design incorporated precision manufacturing techniques that produced components with tolerances exceeding Allied production capabilities by significant margins, suggesting industrial development that intelligence estimates had failed to detect. Most critically, the electronic control systems represented technological advancement that could revolutionize aircraft design if properly understood and implemented in Allied development programs. Within weeks, Whitworth received orders transferring him to Farnborough for extended assignment as technical liaison supporting reverse engineering analysis of German jet technology. The transfer represented informal recognition that his unauthorized initiative had produced intelligence of exceptional value, while avoiding official acknowledgement that could encourage similar procedural violations by other personnel. His role involved translating field observations into technical specifications that laboratory researchers could use for detailed analysis and potential replication of German innovations. The reverse engineering program initiated by his discoveries ultimately accelerated British jet development by an estimated 3 years, enabling post-war aviation advances that might otherwise have been delayed until the 1950s. Davies received assignment to specialized technical photography units supporting advanced aircraft development, where his experience documenting German innovations proved invaluable for recording experimental British jet programs. The crash site examination conducted by specialized teams confirmed that Whitworth's unauthorized investigation had identified the most significant technical features while providing accurate preliminary assessment that guided subsequent detailed analysis. However, the bureaucratic response to his procedural violation remained carefully neutral, neither officially censuring his unauthorized activities nor formally approving individual initiative that exceeded standing orders. This institutional ambiguity reflected military leadership's recognition that exceptional circumstances sometimes required decision-making that couldn't be anticipated by standard procedures while maintaining discipline necessary for organizational effectiveness. Post-war examination of German aviation development revealed that Whitworth's assessment of their technological capabilities had been remarkably accurate, despite his limited time and improvised examination techniques. The Me-262 program represented German engineering achievement that exceeded Allied development by years in multiple critical areas, validating his decision to risk career consequences for immediate detailed examination. Intelligence analysis conducted after Germany's surrender confirmed that delayed examination would likely have resulted in losing crucial technical information to German recovery teams who were actively searching for downed aircraft containing advanced technology. Whitworth's unauthorized initiative had prevented German forces from recovering innovations that could have extended their technological advantage and potentially prolonged the war through enhanced aircraft performance. The technical intelligence obtained through his examination contributed directly to post-war British jet development programs that established technological foundations for civil aviation advances throughout the 1950s and beyond. The long-term consequences of Whitworth's unauthorized examination extended far beyond immediate military applications, as his discoveries contributed to fundamental changes in Allied approach to technical intelligence gathering and aircraft development. His detailed technical notes became standard reference material for understanding German engineering capabilities and manufacturing techniques that influenced post-war aviation design philosophy throughout the Western Allies. The component samples obtained during his improvised examination provided metallurgical insights that accelerated British development of high-temperature alloys essential for gas turbine engine advancement. Laboratory analysis revealed German manufacturing techniques that enabled precision component production at scales and tolerances that British industry hadn't achieved, leading to significant improvements in post-war precision engineering capabilities. Most importantly, his documentation of electronic flight control systems provided crucial foundation for British development of advanced aircraft control technology that became standard in subsequent generations of military and civilian aircraft. The photographic record prepared by Davies during their unauthorized examination became the most comprehensive visual documentation of German jet technology captured by Allied forces during the war. These photographs provided visual reference that enabled British engineers to understand system integration and component relationships that couldn't be fully appreciated through written technical description alone. Post-war interviews with German engineers confirmed that Whitworth's assessment of Me-262 capabilities had been remarkably accurate, despite his limited examination time and improvised analytical techniques. His field analysis correctly identified the most significant technological innovations while providing practical insights that guided subsequent British development programs for decades. The unauthorized examination conducted under combat conditions produced technical intelligence that formal laboratory analysis confirmed was both accurate and strategically significant for Allied aviation development. Whitworth's post-war career continued within British aviation development as his experience analyzing German technology proved invaluable for understanding captured innovations and implementing improvements in British aircraft design. His transition from field intelligence officer to research engineer reflected recognition that practical experience examining foreign technology provided insights that traditional laboratory analysis couldn't fully replicate. The skills developed through unauthorized field examination enabled him to identify critical technical features that formal procedures might overlook, contributing to British aviation advances throughout the 1950s. His marriage to Patricia Henderson in 1946 and subsequent family life in suburban London represented the peaceful conclusion to wartime service that many veterans experienced, but his technical contributions continued influencing British aviation development for decades. The children who played in his workshop during weekends had no understanding that their father's wartime decision to exceed his authority had contributed to technological advances that shaped post-war aviation development throughout the Western world. Letters and testimonies from British pilots who flew jets developed using German technology, validated through Whitworth's unauthorized examination, provided personal perspectives on how individual initiative during wartime translated into peacetime technological advancement. Squadron leader Robert Morrison wrote in 1952 that flying British jets incorporating German innovations felt like piloting aircraft from the future compared to wartime fighters, with performance capabilities that would have been impossible without understanding captured German technology. Flight Lieutenant Thomas Andrews documented how jet aircraft control systems developed from German designs enabled precision flight operations that traditional mechanical controls couldn't achieve, providing safety and performance margins that saved countless lives during post-war aviation expansion. Test pilot Sarah Williams noted that British jet development programs had access to German technical insights that accelerated development timelines by years, enabling rapid transition from wartime piston engines to peacetime jet transportation. These personal accounts emphasized how individual wartime decisions to exceed authorized procedures could produce long-term benefits extending far beyond immediate military applications. The technical intelligence obtained through unauthorized examination influenced not only military aircraft development, but also civil aviation advances that enabled post-war commercial flight expansion throughout Europe and North America. British aircraft manufacturers incorporated German innovations in metallurgy, aerodynamics, and precision manufacturing that improved safety, performance, and reliability across all categories of aviation development. The electronic control systems first documented during Whitworth's field examination became foundational technology for fly-by-wire aircraft that revolutionized aviation safety and performance throughout subsequent decades. Post-war analysis revealed that delaying detailed examination for proper procedural compliance would have resulted in losing technical intelligence that proved crucial for maintaining Western technological competitiveness during early Cold War period. German recovery teams were actively searching for advanced technology crash sites throughout late 1944, with capability to deny Allied access to innovations that could determine post-war technological balance between competing political systems. Whitworth's decision to risk career consequences for immediate technical examination ultimately contributed to Western technological advantages that influenced international relations and military balance throughout the Cold War era. The unauthorized initiative represented individual decision-making that prioritized strategic national interests over personal career security, demonstrating courage that extended beyond traditional military valor into intellectual and professional risk-taking for broader societal benefit. The story of James Whitworth's decision to examine the downed Me-262 reveals fundamental questions about courage, duty, and innovation that extend far beyond wartime circumstances into timeless considerations of when individual initiative serves larger purposes than procedural compliance. His unauthorized examination represented calculated risk-taking that prioritized potential strategic benefit over personal career security, demonstrating that meaningful innovation often requires exceeding established limitations. The technological intelligence obtained through his decision contributed to post-war aviation advances that influenced not only military capabilities, but also civil aviation development that enabled global transportation expansion throughout subsequent decades. The choice between following orders and pursuing strategic opportunity illustrates tensions between institutional discipline and individual initiative that characterize all organizations attempting to balance procedural stability with innovative adaptation. Whitworth's experience demonstrates that exceptional circumstances sometimes require decision-making that can't be anticipated by standard procedures while maintaining respect for institutional authority necessary for organizational effectiveness. His willingness to risk professional consequences for potential strategic benefit exemplifies individual courage that operates through intellectual and technical domains rather than traditional physical valor, expanding understanding of what heroism means in modern technological contexts. The long-term consequences of his unauthorized examination extended far beyond immediate military applications to influence aviation development that continues shaping contemporary transportation, defense, and aerospace industries throughout the world. The technological insights obtained through his improvised field analysis contributed to British aviation advancement that maintained Western competitiveness during crucial post-war technological development. When international leadership depended upon engineering capabilities and manufacturing sophistication, individual initiative that exceeds authorized procedures can produce benefits extending decades beyond immediate circumstances when strategic vision guides decision-making toward larger purposes than personal career advancement or procedural compliance. The examination of captured German technology illustrates how wartime innovation often results from individual willingness to assume responsibility for decisions that institutional procedures can't adequately address due to time constraints or bureaucratic limitations. Contemporary challenges in technological development, national security, and international competitiveness continue requiring individual decision-making that balances institutional discipline with innovative initiative necessary for maintaining strategic advantages in rapidly evolving technical environments. Would you have chosen to exceed your orders when strategic opportunity conflicted with procedural compliance, knowing that success would benefit society while failure could destroy your career? Would you have possessed the technical confidence and moral courage necessary to risk everything for potential advancement that couldn't be guaranteed or officially sanctioned? Comment below and share this story so others remember that individual courage in technical domains can influence historical development just as significantly as traditional military valor on conventional battlefields.